What's going on, everybody? Super excited about today's episode. Going to be starting a whole new series actually off of this question that I always get asked. I always get asked, dude, if you were to start it from day one, coming from nothing, what would you do? How would you get started again? Because everybody that's known me, watched me going from renting a one bedroom apartment, not owning any assets at 28 to having an eight-figure portfolio now at 31 and being financially free and being able to retire from my job as a federal agent, all that stuff. A lot of people watched me go through that. My friends from years ago to people that I literally just started a new job at a different agency when I was going to get into real estate. I was literally at the academy when I started learning about it. So some of those kids that I knew at that time, they literally watched me from day one, not owning anything, till the day I, turned in my badge and walked away from that job. So I get asked that by far the most. Hey man, I want to get started. I have 20 grand set aside. I have this, I have that. How do I get started? I just want to get started. Because don't get me wrong, it is intimidating. The first one is always the hardest. So what I'm excited about is I'm actually going to do it all with you. So I'm not just going to be like all the other gurus out there, influencers. God, I even hate that friggin' word. Um, that just tell you what to do, and that's it. I'm going to do it with you guys because I'm actually looking to get into a new market that I don't know. So it's kind of essentially the same thing that people ask me, hey, what should I do when I start? I'm actually going to be looking for that exact same thing. So let's just jump right into it. This is going to be a new series that's going to be dedicated to just this. Depending on the timeline and stuff like that, I'm not sure exactly when episodes will come out, but obviously I'll say when it's a new episode about this strategy. So if someone asks me, hey, what should I do? I want to get started. Let's just get right into it. So I think if you have very little cash set aside, or even if you have a little bit of money set aside and you just don't know how to start, this is how I would start. And like I said, I'm literally going to be doing this exact thing. Mine might be a little bit different because I'm looking for a very specific property, but it's only going to have a little caveat to it. Everything else is going to be the same. You want to look for whatever you can find out first, whatever you can qualify for. You want to use obviously a low down payment loan, either an FHA loan, 3.5%, 5%, or a conventional loan being 5%. You now can do 1 to 4 unit multifamily, small multifamily, with conventional loans with a low down payment. You used to not be able to do that. It only could be FHA. And FHA kind of limits you to what you can buy because one, it's a lot longer closing process. Two, they have a appraisal and condition stipulations that normal conventional funding won't do. Now, for this exact strategy, you're probably going to be able to get away with an FHA loan because what I'm suggesting you do, go find that number out, whatever it is you qualify for. It can be 100,000, it can be $500,000. It doesn't matter. Go figure out what you could qualify. They're going to take your income. Sorry, pre-approved. Don't get pre-qualified. Actually, go to a lender and get pre-approved because that's two different things. Pre-qualified is they're just going to say, okay, hey, how much money do you make? And you're going to say, hey, I make 120 grand a year. They're going to say, okay, well, what are your liabilities? Oh, my car payment is this, 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 this. Okay, it's very broad. And then they're going to, in like 20 minutes, they're going to get you a oh yeah, you qualify for $300,000. And you're like, great, I can go find a $300,000 house. And then there's this little thing called underwriting. So then that was really just a loan officer you were dealing with. What's going to happen is then your file is going to get pushed to underwriting, which then you're going to have to submit all your pay stubs. They're going to run your credit. They're going to see every liability you have. If you go credit card debt, anything like that, it's all going to come up. And if you were truthful with and on point with what you said, but you forgot that you had a child support lien before and you just didn't say that, whatever the case may be, like that's why the difference might be a lot in a pre-qual and a pre-approved. So go, you don't want to waste your time, go get pre-approved, find out what that maximum number it is that you can get pre-approved for. And then you're going to go try to find a small multifamily up to 4 units. I'm going to try to find something at least 4 units, but you can go with a duplex or triplex or whatever you want to do. And then you want to find the best appreciating area in the market that you're in. If you just think of, okay, well, where do the rich people live in my town? Where are the people that have money? Obviously, if it's too expensive and you can't find any small multifamily there, okay, we'll go to the next area. Okay, well, hey, this is a really good area that's going to appreciate. Because again, you're buying for appreciation. You're not buying this property for cash flow. You want to get the most expensive property that you can buy in the nicest area for the least amount of money out of pocket, obviously, because you're going to only put 3.5%, 5% down, whatever the case may be. So find out what that number is. Do some research in your market, which obviously I can't do for you. You just go do some research in your market. Start with, hey, okay, if you're in Houston, okay, I know the Heights is the most expensive. Okay, well, what's the next most expensive? If you can't qualify, say you only qualify for 500,000, you're not going to be able to get a fourplex in the Heights. So, okay, go to what's the next tier of property places? Okay, hey, this is an area where it's a good area, it's a growing area, it's going to appreciate. Let me go find the fourplex there. Next thing, try to target new construction. Because again, you want to keep, especially if you're just starting out and you don't have a ton of money, you don't want to be buying something that's from the 20s that's going to have all these repairs and stuff like that. We're looking for turnkey properties. I know everybody's sitting there like, wow, you're not going to pick a burr. Like, that's not what that one would you use your strategy would be? No. If you're just getting started, you should not go out and try to buy a burr. This is, again, today's market. You're just getting started. You don't have a ton of money. Anybody can do this. This is why I'm making this strategy. Literally anybody can do this. If you could buy a house, you could do this strategy. And this is going to come out way better on paper when you're done, because everybody always asks me, how do I make more money? Because that's what they want to invest for. They want to make more money, but they never actually look and reflect how can I save money? People don't understand that saving a dollar is the same as making a dollar. So yes, you might have to get uncomfortable. Maybe you have a family. You don't want to go live in an apartment in a duplex or apartment in a fourplex. But here's the thing: you get to say you're in a house right now. Say you own your primary residence. Okay, well, move to the apartment, rent out your primary residence. Now you have a rental property that's bringing you in. You're offsetting that mortgage, and now you're living in a fourplex, and the other three rents pay for your mortgage, even if you're just breaking even across the board. But guess what? That $2,000 mortgage that you used to have to pay every month, you're not paying it anymore. Is it inconvenient? Yeah. But listen, guys, if you're trying to get ahead in life, being comfortable is not going to be in your repertoire. You're going to have to step out of your comfort zone. Now, are there ways to get around this? Do you have to move to the property you're supposed to do? Yes, you are. You're supposed to live in it for at least a year, or have the intention of living in it for at least a year. So again, a little recap: best area you can afford with whatever you can pre-approve for. Particularly something that's new construction or turnkey and remodeled, and the big ticket items are already taken care of. Because again, if you're doing this and you don't have a ton of cash, you want to stay away from those big ticket items. 3, try to find something that has a good price to rent ratio, meaning that the price of the property compared to the rents. So if it's a $500,000 property and it brings in $5,000 a month in rents, okay, hey, that's a 1-to-1, 1% rule. Again, that's a rule of thumb. It's not always guaranteed. You don't have to go by it, but it's just a rule of thumb, the 1% rule. Everybody knows that. So that's where we're starting out at. And again, anybody can do this. It's 5% down loan. If you qualify for 400,000, it's 20 grand out of pocket. A lot of builders right now are offering awesome closing costs. They'll cover all your closing costs. A lot of times they're even giving you cash back at that point to offset your down payment. Like, that's why if I were you right now, with how markets are right now, I would try to target a new construction company, because they also have the best interest rates. They're buying your interest rates down. And the main reason why this is the strategy you should be going with right now is because it gives you a chance to be a landlord, to make sure that you want to do this. Because I have seen it before where people, they either have the money or they did something like this, like something they heard on Bigger Pockets or whatever it is, and then they just hate being a landlord. And like I said at the beginning of the episode, it's not a stock that you can just, oh, okay, I don't want this, dump it tomorrow. I don't care if I lose $100. No, you can't just go dump it. and you can lose a lot more money if you buy this thing and then try to turn around and sell it tomorrow. It's like you want to make sure that you want to do this, especially if you last thing you want to do is go buy a bunch of these things and then realize 6 months into it that shit, I don't want to be a landlord. I hate doing this. So this is a perfect strategy to get your feet wet. It gives you time to get your systems down. It gets you times to how to underwrite tenants, how to do leases, how to find a handyman, how to get this is actually the reason why I'm doing this is because since I'm breaking into a new market, this gives me the opportunity to very low risk, and I'm going to be living there when I go visit there. So again, I'm getting something out of it instead of paying for an Airbnb or whatever it is. And this is a market I want to invest in. I want to have a place to stay there. I don't want to be carrying suitcases back and forth and stuff like that. I want to have a place to stay there. So even if the place is empty and completely vacant, I'm still getting something out of it because it's giving me a place to stay where I don't have to go get an Airbnb or a hotel or whatever it is, or rent an apartment there. So you're getting your feet wet, you're coming up with your systems, you're leasing out units, you're doing all the things that a landlord would do typically, but instead of putting the 20% down or doing a burr and doing all this other stuff, I mean, if you do a 3.5% down loan and you negotiate 3% back in seller's concessions, because we'll get a little more into the weeds of this again, but guys, the buyers have, especially, well, at least in Texas right now, you have a lot of buying power right now, a lot. It is not unheard of if you're doing a conventional loan or something like that to get 6% seller concessions. It's not uncommon. Now, obviously, each lender is going to they have caps that you can get for concessions. Usually it's 3% or whatever it is. But think about it, if you're putting 5% down and you can get 3% back from the seller and you negotiate where they cover your closing costs and buy your rate down, again, that has to come out to the same number, whatever it is. You could be coming out very low out of pocket. If you're a veteran, you could come out with zero. So you have very little skin in the game, very little risk in any of this. And it's going to give you the biggest thing you're going to get out of this is going to be the confidence. You're not going to get rich off this. You're not going to make $2,000 a month in cash flow off of this. You're not going to, it's not going to build your net worth to crazy numbers, but you're going to get the confidence to be able to do this. And then while you're doing this, you're going to be able to try out, hey, okay, I need to fix something. Let me call an HVAC guy. This is going to happen. Okay, well, what happens when you get a maintenance request? What is your policy with that? What happens? Okay, a tenant leaves. What's going to be your policy for that? All these things that you're going to do, it's going to give you the confidence to be able to do that. Because even when I was starting out, there's so many unknowns. You could listen to all the bigger pockets, watch this show as much as you want. You're never going to find out everything you're going to know while you're going through it. And this is the best way to get started and have low risk, low out of pocket. You're not going to lose your 401k. You're not going to lose your savings, your emergency funds for your family by doing this. Again, because if you're being smart with it, you're moving into this property and you're renting out the property that you're in, or you're moving into the property and getting out of the lease that you were at that apartment. You have to be living somewhere. So you're paying rent either in a mortgage form or rent somewhere. And I guarantee you, if you're in an apartment and you go buy a fourplex, your mortgage after those 3 units is probably going to be less than what that one bedroom or whatever apartment you were living in. So even if you're saying, oh, well, I'm not owning anything. I rent an apartment. Well, I guarantee you, once you take those 3 other rents you're going to get every month and put it towards your mortgage, it's going to be less or around the same as that apartment you're renting out. But now you're getting the 4 benefits of owning real estate: your principal pay down, your tax depreciation, your monthly cash flow if you have any, and also the appreciation of the property. So now you're getting the 4 benefits, even if it's a wash. Even if, say, the apartment was $1,000 and after you get $3,000 a month from the 3 other units and your mortgage is 4,000, so now you're down 1,000. It's essentially still a wash. But again, that's not even the biggest point of why you're doing this. You're doing this because you want to get the experience. It gets you started. It gets you the confidence you need to keep going. And then, like I said, now you start building your team. Okay, hey, now I feel good. I have good contractors now. Maybe I can take on a burr. Now I know this area. I know what the rents are going to be. I know what it's like to screen a tenant. Those are the things that you can't put a dollar factor on. And this, like I said, I've said it, what, 2 or 3 times already? This is low risk, low barrier to entry. Literally, all you have to do is go get pre-approved. And the reason why I'm doing this now is I've actually been wanting to do this for some time now, but I was always having to go like the investing loan type product because I left my W-2 a couple years ago. And I have multiple LLCs, and some of them didn't have those 2 years of history, so I couldn't count that income. So I couldn't qualify off my income. Plus, with real estate, on paper, you really don't make any money, which is the point. But so I didn't know I was going to be able to get qualified. So now I'm going to do a bank statement loan. Again, mine's going to be a little bit different than how you guys are going to be traditionally doing this, but this is just to show you that anybody can do it. It doesn't matter if you're a 1099 employee. It's not an excuse. You can get a bank statement loan. So again, this literally is for everybody. I don't know why more people don't do this. Again, it's because, oh, it's not a house. You want to have this. Like I said, guys, if you're scared to get uncomfortable or you don't want to be uncomfortable, then you're never going to be an investor, and you grow in uncomfortable times. You don't grow sitting back and being comfortable. That's just how it is. And again, if all else fails, you live in it for a year, you say, F this, I don't want to do this anymore. You rent out that fourth unit. Now the property cash flows, and you go back to moving into your house or whatever it is. Kick that tenant out that you signed a year lease for a tenant. You don't like the apartment life or whatever it is. Okay, hey, we're going to flip flop this. We're going to go back to the house. Okay, so yeah, you had to move for a year. Maybe you had to pay for a storage unit because all your stuff won't fit in, your apartment or whatever. But guys, that if you're buying, and that's why we're buying in a good area, because that's in a retirement account. You don't even notice that, but that fourplex that you bought for $350,000 in a good area in 25 years when you go to retire is going to be worth $1 million. That's not unheard of. And your mortgage is paid down by these tenants, and you have those other three benefits that you're still going to have. So this is, again, it's by far the most question I get asked. Everybody asks me, hey man, I want to get invested. I just sold a car. I just sold some stock, whatever it is. I got this much money laying around. What should I do? Even if it's a good chunk of change and then everybody sees like the profits I make on birds and stuff like that, guys, don't do it. It's so hard to get into that not knowing anything, not knowing how to get a contractor, how to talk to a contractor, how you pay contractors. How do I not get screwed? There's so many things that even if you have the money to do it, by doing this first, it will set you up for so much more success and take so much risk away from you losing your ass on a burr that you don't know, because you're also going to have to do market research. You're going to have to get with a realtor, or if you are licensed, and you're going to have to run CMAs and say, hey, is this property worth this? What should we offer? Those are all training wheels for doing burrs and doing other things. And plus, now you're in the multifamily space. Now you start getting into how to underwrite. Okay, what's my NOI, my net operating income? What are my expenses? What are my insurance? What am I like? You could run every single study that you want to run, and you're not going to find stuff out like what exactly will a 2-1 with all updated appliances, everything is it going to rent for. You'll know the day you go to put that in the market on Zillow and you see that you have 14 contacts. You're like, okay, hey, maybe this probably can get a little more for this. I remember that was the first. I bought 2 duplexes together. It was my first properties I bought. I posted the one up because the guy was getting 600 for rent for a 2-bedroom. And I think I just posted on Facebook because everybody told me that was where the most people you're going to get were off of Facebook in this town. And I put it up for, I even think I put it up for 700. And I had literally 40 messages that same day for people interested in it. And there's 4 of them. So the first one, I think I rented at like 750, ended up renting at 750. And I literally, every single one I did ended up renting up all the way to the last one. I was getting 954. The other 2 was like 750, 800, 850, and then 900. And because I didn't realize until the 4th one, oh, this dude was charging way under market rents, because you just think, okay, well, hey, these people are here paying 650. That's got to be what it's worth. No, it was way under market rent, way under market rent. And then on the flip side of that, you'll know if you're overpriced. If you put it up for $500 or 1,000, whatever the number is, and you don't get a single contact in 2 weeks, okay, hey, something's wrong. I'm gonna have to drop my rent. And again, this is why we're buying in those good areas, because those are the areas you want to invest in. That's why I'm doing this. It's a market that I want to invest in, that I'm going to. So why would you not want to live around, see the area, see, okay, because especially if you're in a market like Corpus, you could have $1 million homes on one side of the street, and on the other side of the street, it could be, trap houses, $200,000 homes, and then you could have $1 million homes on this side of the street. So knowing the ins and outs, well, if you live there, there's no other better way to learn an area than live there. Okay, hey, what do the locals do? Do they go to the park here? Do they go to the water here? They do this, do that. Again, this is all market data that you're collecting for 5% out of pocket. And again, seller concessions, negotiate the shit, find a builder that's buying down your rate, that's doing all this stuff. This is the time you can do this. People have been waiting for this time. Oh, the market's coming down. Guys, it's about time in the market. It's not timing the market. It's time in the market. If you buy a house today and you buy it right, meaning that you got a good deal on it, you got an under market value, you got good concessions. Guys, because people say, oh, you don't want to catch the falling knife if it's going down. Guys, even if it dips another 5-10% or whatever it is the next couple of years, this is a long-term game. In 30 years from now, that fourplex is still going to be worth substantially more. Even if there's no point, you're never going to perfectly time where's the bottom, because you also said every market's different. Other markets could be bottoming out when your market's starting to take off and you already missed it, or vice versa. Maybe this market is still dropping and you think it's because this market's bottoming out or already going up. This market could still be going down. You're never going to know. Just get in. And like I said, the most important thing here is the confidence. Even if you don't make a penny off this property, you are going to know pretty soon, do I want to do this? Do I want to invest more time? Do I want to be a landlord? Do I want to do this? Maybe you don't. Or maybe you think, hey, I want to do this. I see the value in it, but I've decided that I'm not going to do management. I'm going to find a good property management company and pass it off to them. This is also going to put you in touch with a realtor. If you tell them, hey, I'm a new investor, and you actually come through and buy that fourplex, guys, they're gonna send you good deals when they come, because they know you're actually getting involved. There's a lot of people that get stuck in analysis paralysis and they sit on the sidelines for years. And this is why I don't even really advertise that I am a realtor, because I don't have the time to deal with people that don't want to actually buy something. And there's lots of realtors that are like that. And they might come off like assholes. No, it's because they've sat there and a bunch of people have already wasted their time. They've already said, oh, I'm going to be an investor and buy all these properties. And then every little way that they can ditch stack out of it, they're going to do that. Again, I've never done that because I was already investing for a couple of years before I got my license. So I already watched a bunch of people do that to realtors. And I'm like, well, I'm definitely never going to be that realtor, because I already seen how people are. But if you prove to them, hey, this person came through and actually bought this property, okay, I'm going to send them deals now. Again, that's another connection that you're making. You're going to go to a title company. You're going to see what a closing is like. You're going to see what the fees are like. Those fees are going to be very similar to where if you're buying an investment property, all the escrow fees and title fees, those are all going to be the same. Obviously, your closing costs will be different from your lender because you could be using hard money or something like that. Those will be different. But all of your title associated fees, that's valuable information that you're gaining, because every state's different. You could be watching this video being from New York, and your fees are going to be totally different than the one that I showed on the HUD, that video I made about the HUDs. It could be totally different. But now you're in your market. You see how the process goes. You see how the inspection process goes. You see how an appraisal comes back, what an appraisal looks like. What are the data on the appraisal? Again, for very low money out of pocket. And now is the time to do that. And I'm not just saying that because I'm in real estate. It doesn't do any good for me. But I'm saying that's the question everybody always asks me. Hey, you built an 8-figure portfolio in 3 years. If you had to start today, Where would you start? Well, I'm going to do it with y'all. So, again, so for part one of this new series, like I said, I don't know exactly how long it's going to take to come out with these episodes because I'm actually going to update you as I go through the process. And right now, I'm still just looking for, like I said, that specific. I'm looking for something very specific. I'm looking for a multifamily property that has a shop with it because I'm a car guy, so I really want a garage to be able to put a lift in and do stuff like that. So I'm looking for like a unicorn property that's like, I've already been talking to builders trying to say like, hey, can you build me this? Like, and negotiate that into the, like, literally into the closing. Like, hey, you have this brand new built triplex up front, will you guys build me an apartment in the back attached to a shop, kind of stuff. So like, might take me a little longer to find something like that just because I'm looking for literally like a one-off property. But this is something that you guys could jump on Zillow tonight and be like, hey, okay, what's the good areas of town? Let's go find a fourplex there. Let's go find a duplex there. You could be sitting at home in your apartment saying, hey, we got 20 grand. What can we qualify for? Let's go find out. And you could start this tonight. This is the time. This is the time you have to negotiate. My whole investing career, you've never been able to put an option period. You've never been able to ask for seller concessions. You've never been able to get properties under list price. Like, guys, nothing is closing at list price. If you see something, oh, I love this duplex, but it's listed at 400. Guys, send it. 325, 300. See what they say. You don't know until you don't know. I don't think I've ever paid asking for literally any of my properties I've ever bought, ever. And you know what? Again, there's your repetition. You're getting offers submitted. Another trick, guys, you don't have to be licensed to do this. If you watch my video that I showed, the first episode was how to write a contract. Guys, if you're in Texas, you could literally take that contract and fill it out exactly how I did and submit it. And then you negotiate with the seller, hey, you have that listing agreement showing that the buyer's brokerage is getting 3%. I want that extra 3%. Or hey, take it off the purchase price. Or hey, pay for closing cost. But since I'm not being represented by anybody, you don't have to pay that 3%. If the realtor gives you shit about it, say I don't have to be licensed. I can't collect it as cash, but you can negotiate it into the deal. You won't be able to take the commission as cash, like they won't be able to cut you a check at closing, but you can put it towards your closing cost, which would be towards your down payment or whatever the negotiating tactic is. It's 3% less out of their pocket that they would have to pay. Again, you could do it yourself. You could contact me and I'll do it for you and I'll split the commission with you. I don't care. Anybody can do this strategy. And I'm going to show you exactly how I'm going to do it. Again, my offers are going to look a little different than yours, and the property is going to be a little different too. But if you're going to go through this with me and you're going to follow along, hey, send me updates. Hey, man, this is the property I'm looking at. I want to write an offer up for it. What do you think? If it's a market that I know, I'd be happy to give some insight to it. This is, again, I'm going to be looking for the same stuff. You're not going to be my competition because I'm looking for literally a one-off property. But again, guys, anybody can do this. Anybody. And a lot of people come to me, hey, how can I make more money? Like I said, guys, if this is going to save you money because you're not having to pay rent, that is making more money. I know you don't, in your head, you're sitting there thinking, oh, well, I'm still only making 8 grand a month or whatever it is. Yes, but you're not spending. That's also making money. And like I said, you might have to get uncomfortable. Guys, this condo that I have, this is actually the first property that I've actually bought for me to live in. 60 something rentals. I was literally staying in a guest house at one of my properties for a year and a half, 2 years. This is the first property in Corpus that I've actually bought for myself to live in. I'm still live way underneath my means. And you have to. If you want to make more money, you need to start by how much can I save? I remember when I was an agent, I think my checks were like $2,600 or $2,700 every 2 weeks. And I told myself I am going to deposit $2,000 a paycheck into my savings account. every single time. That means I either need to work overtime if it's available, or I need to live off like $1,500 a month, because obviously I got 2 checks a month, obviously. And I did that for several years. When I first started with the Border Patrol, my first year I made like $40,000, which was a big pay cut for me because I used to make more than that, obviously. And every year you got a pretty substantial bump on your EOD date. And I still lived with my same budget that I had of the $40,000 up into the time when I was making $110,000, $120,000 a year. My personal budget was still the same as the $40,000 budget. That is how you save up the money to invest. So it's not just, okay, hey, what investment strategy is going to make me rich, or what investment strategy is going to get there? You first need to say, okay, hey, where can I save money? Because every dollar that you save is another dollar that you make. And I think this is a great foundation to start it. Like I said, you're going to get your feet wet. You're going to learn all this experience. And again, it's going to give you the confidence to think, I can do this. So, well, if you guys are going to follow along, shoot me a text. I love to have like a little list of who's doing this at the same time. I think it'd be cool to kind of get everybody together, or at least be able to talk to people about what market they're looking at. If they found something, they made any offers, are they going to do it? I think that's cool. I've actually been getting a lot of messages from people like, hey man, this is inspirational. Like, which I didn't think, I didn't think I was going to get that kind of response, to be honest. I'm very much an introvert, very private. So this is something new to me, obviously, stepping out to do this. But it's been cool to see the response, like from people that, might just be friends on social media that you don't even really know. And they're like, hey man, I've been following you for years. Like, this content is awesome. It's so cool to see your story like this. Like, and again, a lot of those people, they got to see me as a normal person. Not that I'm not a normal person now, I'm still the same person, but like they saw me, that $600 1-bedroom apartment that I rented for multiple years, they saw me in that. They saw me in the $3,000 car that I drive. They literally watched me go through this because I was buying properties and my budget and everything didn't change. Everything stayed the same. So it just goes to show that literally anybody can do this. And again, I'm not some guru or influencer. Oh, you got to pay for my course. Guys, you don't need to pay for a fucking course to do this. I literally just told you how you can get started investing. And then from there, you grow. But, all right, guys, first episode of this series, but we'll keep in touch as I kind of get things rolling here and try to find the market or the property in the market I'm trying to get into. So, well, if you guys want to shoot me a DM or comment what market you're going to be looking at, I'm kind of interested to see it where everybody's looking at buying. But all right, guys.